Okay, hello everyone, this is Mr. Alberonen here again, and this video is going to be about Kameo reversals and how to use them and when to use them, because they are, in my opinion, still one of the most criminally underused defense options in this game. People are starting to use their up blocks and their flawless blocks, and of course everyone was always doing armored wake-ups, but Kameo reversals are still not done so much, and I think they're particularly useful when you have a block reversal Kameo. Some characters have them weak, but some characters have pretty good ones, and they can be useful in some particular situations, and I think they're particularly strong in very oppressive, tight pressure sequences. So when you have characters like Johnny Cage and Kung Lao as Kameo, you have these pressure sequences that most of your defensive options, like, mashing and stuff, don't really work very well against, so you're just forced to either take the whole block string, risk it by armoring through it, or getting good and flawless blocking it. And I think for this type of sequences, if you can, flawless blocking is kind of the best option, because a lot of people, when they're playing, top tier characters, they're very predictable and they do the same strings over and over again. But in online connections, going for flawless blocks and stuff against Wi-Fi opponents is very, very hard. And I think that the next best thing is to use your Kameo reversal, because these are particularly strong in tight pressure sequences. As you can see, this simple Johnny sequence here, where he has a bunch of situations where there are small gaps where you would usually have to interrupt by going for an armored move. I can now just go for my Sub-Zero reversal. Now, why would I do that instead of going for my armored move? A lot of Kameo reversals have some slightly different properties. They'll have different frames and damage and like safety on block. And also they don't cost you a bar of meters. So just take the example that Johnny is doing his standing pressure here, and he does actually bait me, and he just blocks afterwards. If I go for my armor attack here, I'm minus 16 in his face. But with a Kameo like Sub-Zero's reversal, I'm still quite minus, but I'm only minus 20, and depending on how close I am to the opponent, it can be like minus 18 or something, and with all this pushback, a lot of characters cannot punish that. Of course, in this example, Johnny could easily punish me by just doing his flying kick, whatever that's called, but if I'm fighting a Rain and I use that reversal, Rain's not going to be able to punish you at minus 20, minus 19 from over here. He can't. Even if he wave dashes in, you're just not going to be punished. So some Kameos, like Sub-Zero, have the advantage of having so much pushback that they're effectively safe. Now, also, if I do my armored wake up here, I'm minus 16 and in his face, and I've spent meter. So if he does bait me and block it, not only am I taking a lot of damage, I also don't have the option of breaking that damage, which is why using a Kameo reversal can become a lot safer of an option. If you do have the meter and you're close to the end of the round, it's very worthwhile just saving the meter and using other resources, like your Kameo bar, to break the pressure instead of spending your own meter, because if you're wrong, you just full on die and you have no other backup then. So examples of why you would use a Kameo reversal instead would be if you're trying to save meter for a breaker or a round-ending combo, or if they have a decent amount of safety, like Sub-Zero, or if you have a crappy wake-up attack, like Kitana or Shao Kahn, who have high wake-up attacks that will get beat by just crouching buttons. Having a different wake-up option or reversal option is going to be a godsend. So now, when do we use these? These are only really useful in, like I said, tight block strings. So things like this Johnny pressure. It works really well against because Johnny's pressure is so tight and so clean that everything he does is kind of actually real, and that's where these reversals work well. They work particularly well against real things. If I switch to play with Rain here and I do a bit of, funky Rain pressure, where Rain likes to do stuff like this. This pressure is used a lot and it is kind of good. It surprisingly works against a lot of people. But this pressure is not real. It's minus, you can poke out of it, and that also means that if I try to use a reversal here, it's not going to work well because the invincibility will have worn off by the time that Rain actually hits you with these things. And that's a common theme we'll see about with a bunch of examples I'm about to show. If it's not real pressure, like it's just fake staggers that catch the opponent off guard, then it won't work. So this is for situations where you don't have other options. If you can poke out, then poke out, because that'll work. But if it is pressure where you know the opponent is plus and you just can't get around it, then it'll work well. And let's go through some examples of where this is useful now. So stuff like Smoke's plus pressure here, where he's got this forward 1-2 that's very plus. This is real pressure, I can't poke out of it easily, so an option that I have is using my Serena reversal to go through it. And I'll just easily blast through whatever he tries to do afterwards, because this pressure is just so good and so real that my invincibility does actually work on the stuff that he would do afterwards. Whereas, if he's doing some other pressure like these sorts of things, which catch a surprising amount of people, and people think they're plus, you can poke out of these, easy peasy. That means that if you do try to use this on situations like that, it won't work, because this is fake pressure. The reversal doesn't work in these situations. Another good example is off of his string. So for the first 2 hits of this, there is an armorable gap, but not a mashable gap. Let me... So I can't actually press buttons in between this. There is a gap, but even if I'm mashing down 1, I can't do anything except go for my armor. So this is a good example of when I can do Serena. But the last hit of this string, I can easily poke out of. I can go for my standing 2, my standing 1, as long as I time it correct, and poke him out of this easily. And yep, as you expect, this also means it will not work well with a Kameo reversal. You're starting to see the theme here, surely. Another situation that does work in though is standing 1 pressure. A lot of characters have plus on block or good standing 1s. Rain doesn't even have a plus on block 1, but it works good in this situation because standing 1s and stuff have such short active frames and they're such just like quick little jabs that they work really well against this. So as you can see, this pressure of Rain's here works really well against them. Anytime if he's just doing standing 1, standing 1-1, I can go for my armored attack in between it because they're just such quick moves. But as soon as he's going for his mid, that'll hit me because it's got more active frames, it's a little bit slower, it's more fake, so the Kameo reversal will not work here. But if it's just against these standing things like that, if there's people doing a lot of this, that's a perfect time to use a Kameo reversal. Because they're using things with short frames, they're just too quick and too tight, that's a perfect time to go for reversal. But if they are doing stagger pressure into really fake things, then you just have to rely on yourself knowing that you can poke out of that. So that was just a short guide, but I highly suggest that if you ever feel like you're being a little bit too oppressed by Johnny pressure and some really strong pressure that is real and you can't poke out of, and maybe you're not very good at flawless blocking online, I highly suggest you try out using your Kameo reversal. If you're running a Serena or a Sub-Zero or a Kung Lao, anyone with an invincible Kameo reversal on block, try it out. It may just be the little secret you need to get out of a very sticky situation that would have killed you otherwise. So thanks for watching, let me know if it helps. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.